Tenaris is the only manufacturer in the country capable of producing the steel pipes needed for Canada's oil and gas industry. And this kind of Ontario-made manufacturing is more important than ever before.
Over $300 million worth of investment is coming to steel tube making operations in Sault Ste. Marie. As CTV's Courtney Nordstrom explains, Tenaris will be set up for new work and new jobs over the next 2.5 years.
Both the federal and provincial governments will be providing over $70 million for upgrades at the Sault Ste. Tenaris steel plant. With investment from the company itself, a total of $306 million will transform the facility over the next 30 months.
This investment will expand production, extend the range of made in Canada products, and maximize productivity through the installation of new state-of-the-art equipment. When this project is complete, we will have enhanced our production capacity significantly.
Tenaris, one of the world's largest manufacturers of steel pipes for the energy industry, announced a more than $300 million Canadian investment at its Sault Ste. Marie Industrial Centre in Northern Ontario. The announcement came alongside Canadian Industry Minister Melanie Joly, Ontario Premier Doug Ford, Ontario Minister of Economic Development Vic Fedeli, Sault Ste. Marie MP Terry Sheehan, and Sault Ste. Marie Mayor Matthew Shoemaker. Federal support came through the Strategic Response Fund. Ontario contributed through the Invest Ontario Fund. The total investment, $306 million, represents the largest single capital commitment Tenaris has made to its Canadian operations in its history. This announcement does not arrive in isolation. Since 2020, Tenaris has already invested more than $350 million in its Sault Ste. Marie facility. The new $306 million commitment brings Tenaris' total investment in Canadian manufacturing to more than $650 million since 2020 alone. That cumulative figure reflects a company that is not hedging on Canada's industrial future. It is betting on it with capital deployed at a scale that matches the strategic importance the energy sector places on domestically produced high-performance steel pipe. The Sault Ste. Marie Industrial Centre produces two categories of steel pipe that are essential to Canada's oil and gas industry: oil country tubular goods, commonly called OCTG, and line pipe. OCTG are the steel casings and tubing used in drilling and completing oil and gas wells inserted into the ground to stabilize boreholes, extract hydrocarbons, and protect the surrounding geological formations. Line pipe transports the oil, gas, and refined products from production sites through the pipeline networks that connect wellheads to refineries and export terminals. Every well drilled in Alberta's oil sands, every section of pipeline approved under the Carney-Smith Implementation Agreement, every LNG liquefaction train at LNG Canada, all of it requires steel pipe produced in facilities like the one Tenaris operates in Sault Ste. Marie. The specific upgrades the $306 million funds are documented in the announcement. The plan will expand production, extend product range, and maximize productivity through the installation of new state-of-the-art equipment. Improvements in material flows will impact each stage of both the seamless and electric resistance welded manufacturing processes, including hot rolling and stretch reduction, heat treatment, testing capabilities, and finishing. The investment also includes an additional threading line for semi-premium and API connections. Threading lines are where the precision machine screw connections are cut into the ends of pipe sections, the connections that allow individual pipe joints to be assembled into the continuous strings that run thousands of meters into a wellbore or stretch hundreds of kilometers across a pipeline corridor. The product expansion targets the specific grades of steel that Canada's drilling activity requires. Expanded capacity for OCTG grades covering shale, thermal, and offshore drilling applications, all three of which are active and growing segments of Canadian oil and gas production. Shale drilling using horizontal drilling and hydraulic fracturing requires high-strength, precisely specified OCTG capable of managing the mechanical stresses of lateral wellbores extending several kilometers underground. Thermal applications, specifically steam-assisted gravity drainage, the dominant production method in Alberta's oil sands, require pipe engineered for high pressure, high-temperature steam injection conditions that place different demands on steel metallurgy than conventional drilling applications. Offshore applications, for which Canada's East Coast and any future Arctic development programs would generate demand, require pipe certified for marine corrosion resistance and the mechanical loading of subsea installations. Martin Castro, president of Tenaris in Canada, stated, "In Canada, we know energy connects us. Tenaris steel pipes, manufactured in Ontario and delivered through our Rig Direct service network to oil and gas operators across the country, enable Canadian energy sovereignty. With this more than 300 million CAD investment, on top of more than 350 million CAD invested since 2020, we illustrate Tenaris' steadfast commitment to Canadian manufacturing." Today's milestone builds on the momentum to expand Canada's domestic supply chain for OCTG and line pipe. The employment impact the announcement projects is specific. The investment is expected to generate up to 200 direct and indirect skilled jobs in Ontario at the Sault Ste. Marie Industrial Centre, as well as create favorable business conditions for Ontario-based subcontractors who supply materials, services, and components to the facility's manufacturing operations. The political context surrounding the announcement is the same context that surrounds every major Canadian manufacturing investment in May 2026, the U.S. tariff environment. The 50% Section 232 tariff on Canadian steel and aluminum imports, combined with the April 2026 expansion of derivative product tariffs, has created significant disruption for Canadian steel producers who export to American markets. Sault Ste. Marie is home to both Tenaris and Algoma Steel, the two anchoring steel producers in Northern Ontario. Algoma reported a net loss of $159.4 million in Q1 2026 and has been actively restructuring its commercial book away from U.S. exposed coil production toward Canadian plate markets and defense steel applications. The Tenaris investment signals that even in that tariff environment, a major steel manufacturer is committing $306 million to Canadian production, not reducing its footprint, not hedging by relocating capacity, but expanding. Industry Minister Melanie Joly stated, "Canada's steel industry is a cornerstone of our economic strength and a driver of our industrial future." Our government remains firmly committed to supporting the steel sector in Sault Ste. Marie. At a time of rising tariffs and trade uncertainty, our government's investment in Tenaris reinforces local manufacturing, creates good-paying jobs, and delivers real, lasting benefits for the region and for Canada. The Rig Direct service network that Tenaris operates across Canada is the commercial infrastructure that converts manufacturing capacity into market reach. Rig Direct is Tenaris' proprietary supply chain management model in which the company manages OCTG inventory, threading, inspection, and delivery logistics directly to the drilling rig, eliminating the intermediate distributors and warehouse steps that add cost and time to conventional pipe supply chains.